update and how I use the IG Index platform. Now, before I go further, anything that I show you here isn't financial advice. It's just really to show you how I use the platform. I've been an IG client since 1991 actually. So it's come a long way, and there's been various updates since there. You know, when I started, you'd have to pick up the phone and make a trade, and then you'd get a confirmation through the post. So we've come a long way. Obviously, I'm showing you this just on my desktop because it's much easier than showing it on an iPad. But of course, you can trade these days on an iPad, an iPhone, and soon an iWatch as well. So this is a live account with real money in it. You can also have a demo account. You can just switch there. You can see you switch to demo account, but I'm just staying in the live account. You can customize a lot of these parts. This is a fairly standard how it comes. Now, top is how much money I've actually got in the account, 84,000. Available to deal. I have credits. I can normally deal more than what I've actually got on the account. But if you're starting out, normally you would only be able to trade. You know, you'd have to put funds on account. Profit and loss, there's just one fairly small trade which I've got open at the moment, which is on treasury bonds. And you can see what the profit and loss is there, and that also ups the same amount at the top of the amount. If we click here on my balances, what you can see here is the equity. So again, how much we've actually got in funds and what we've also got in the profit, or in the, if the case is the loss. Margin, how much capital have I had to use to support those trades. In this case, it's £975 has been used, and of course that can vary, can be variable. All right, so here we've got the finder, and you can put anything in here. So say, for instance, a particular stock you're looking at, let's say Krispy Kreme donuts. You can put KKD in there, and it should come up. And if it doesn't, you can always just put it in. You know, you just start putting in a few of the letters. So if we just go Krispy Kreme donuts, there you go, and there you can see the stock. Now what you'll get with IG, they will normally quote you a DFB, which is a daily funded bet. That is a trade which expires daily or rolls over a contract, which in this case is June, then September, December. Now, the question a lot of people have asked is, what's the difference between these different contracts and what's the point? Well, most of you who are fairly new to trading don't remember when interest rates were much higher. Whenever you take out a spread bet, you are in fact taking out a loan because it's a leveraged product, or they are giving you credit. So when interest rates were 7, 8, or even like 10, 11% when I can remember, the cost of carrying a trade was a lot more. Now rates are nearly zero. You can see here, it doesn't cost me much more to actually hold a December contract as it does a near contract. Now, as I say, I'm not here literally to teach you how to trade in this particular update. If you want to learn how to trade, then get my course and I explain more. But all I want to say is the reason why these prices are so close is partly to do with interest rates and funding. But as I say, any particular stock you want to have a look at, you can just literally put it in here. Also, let's say for instance you find a share and you don't find it's listed. You can contact them and pick up the phone. There are many times they may do a trade for you just because it's not on the platform. So all the other markets are fairly self-explanatory. You've got foreign exchange. You've got near quarter, obviously. That would be, in this case, the June contract when I'm filming this. The far quarter would be September or December. And then, you know, you've got all your currencies. You can trade Bitcoins. Exchange traded funds. This has become quite a big way that a lot of people spread bet, because sometimes you need less margin. So instead of actually spread betting the Dow or the S&P, you can actually spread bet the exchange traded fund on that market, and that's actually a good way that you can do it. You've also got commodities, but all the markets. It's interesting though, somebody told me although IG offer thousands of markets, something like about 80% of the business is actually done on about 10 to 12 different markets. So that's the old Pareto 80-20 rule. But they do offer an awful lot, of shares, and not only just in the UK and the US. IG would do Australian shares and European shares. So there's a huge amount of markets that you can trade with IG. Popular markets, as the word says, these are obviously markets that are popular with spread betting customers. and then, say this is all in real time. There's also binary bets, which are shorter term trades. You can obviously have trending shares, seeing what shares are trending higher or lower. And again, you can set up your own watch list as well. So in this case, I've just got treasury bonds, gold. So let's say, for instance, I want to add stock, let's say Save, which is Spirit Airlines. So if I want to add Spirit Airlines to my watch list, and I'll use the September contract. In here, one of the variables is that I can actually set a alert, set a price alert. I can also open charts in here as well, or I can add it to a watch list. What I can also do, if I click on this sort of roundy where it says market data, a new window will open up and it will give me a lot more information about this particular company as well as the chart. It'll also show me what other IG index customers are doing as well, whether they're long or short, which sometimes can actually act as a contraindicator, but that's something to look at as well. So it opens up a lot more data there. Let's have a look at the actual placing a trade. So let's stay with here as we're here. So if I want to buy, I click on buy. If I want to sell, I click on sell. See, the difference between the two prices are the spread, which is obviously their profit margin. So let's say I want to buy to go long. I click on here and a little ticket will open up and I can choose the size, how much I want to trade. And although Spirit is a US stock, and again, I'm not tipping you this, I'm just using it as an example. Although it's a US stock, I can still trade in pounds per point. So even though this is $65.32, it's still, I can trade in pounds a point, or I can trade in euros a point if my account's set up that way. So your underlying currency doesn't actually have to match the market you're trading in. All right, so for most people in the UK, they're going to trade in pounds or points. I can set a stop, so how far I want to stop. And just to be clear, what a stop order is, it's just that, it's an order. So if this price hits that price, then your stop becomes a market order. Because when we're trading here, this is basically the market order. So this is what the price is in the market right now. And that's how most trades are done. People just hit this. Now with a stop is an order that if this price hits the market order, then that they will put that into the market. Now you've got to understand there's a couple of different types of stops. And those that got caught out on the recent Swiss franc debate, you can have a guaranteed stop, which normally they're going to charge you more for because it's a bit like an insurance policy, or a normal stop. A normal stop basically means, look, we'll do the best we can to get you out of the market at that price, and most of the time that works fine. A guaranteed stop means that even if it doesn't trade in the underlying market at that price, you are guaranteed to get out, and that's why there is a risk premium. Now, many people, when they're starting out, that is what you're probably going to move into, is guaranteed stops. So you can't lose more than what you've basically set out to. A normal stop, if there's slippage, if there's a large gap, they may be able to get you out at that price or close to that price. But if it's a big gap, chances are they won't. So you're probably going to, lose more than what you thought you would. So that's the difference between stop. But I explain a lot more about stops and different orders in my course, in the Making Money from Financial Spread Trading course. And as I say, what I'm trying to do in this update is just literally go through the platform for those that are fairly new. The way that I use the platform, in fact, most of the brokers that I deal with, is that I don't use their platform. I come to IG or whatever brokers I'm using with the idea of what I want to do already. I don't come up here and think, oh, let me see what I should do. I don't particularly use the charting. It's not bad. I don't particularly use news, and I don't particularly use the research. So really, this is almost like an execution only. So I've already decided, I want to trade treasury bonds or whatever the market is that I want to trade. And then I come to this platform and place the trade accordingly. But of course, there are some extra features in here, and by all means, you can look at those. What I would suggest you do, as I showed you earlier, you can have a demo account as well. Even if you've got a live account and you've got money running with IG, you still have a demo account and you can try ideas with, without real money. And just make sure, obviously, that you watch in the corner which account you're actually putting in. But it also normally says demo up here as well, so you won't get too confused with that. That is really it. As I say, that is the main things that I use the account for. Remember, you can open an account you can open a trade on an iPad and close it out on the desktop, and vice versa, or your phone. It's the same account which is linked to all devices. You can have more than one account if you wish as well. Let's say you're trading a longer term strategy and a shorter term strategy, and you want to keep it separate. You can have like £2,000 in your short term account and 8,000 in your long term account or whatever. IG now also offer a stockbroking account as well. And ISAs, and again that would be under a separate account. Some people still have a CFD account as well, and again that can still be traded all through the same platform. So there's lots of different ways you can trade. But as I say, to start off with, just start off probably with one account, and also have a demo account as well. And as I say, if there's something in here that you find you want to trade and you can't find it, as I say, the majority of stuff you're going to find, all the big shares, all the big indices are in here. But it's in here. The only little thing you've got to be careful of is, because I've just clicked on Tech 100, there's a copyright issue between certain markets. Say, for instance, the Tech 100 is the Nasdaq 100, the US 500 is the S&P 500, and Wall Street is the Dow Jones. They're exactly the same prices, they're exactly the same indices, but they can't say they can't call this Dow Jones, because basically it's a copyright issue or an issue between spread betting and some of the US markets. But if I'm looking at this as I'm doing this right now, the Dow's down 166, or the futures are down a little bit more, 193. The underlying Dow Jones market has done exactly the same. So it's the same market. So sometimes people say, "Oh, I can't find, this market," and I say, "Well, just look, because it might be under a different name as well." There's also, if we click on this arrow here, it'll open up different. If you can open up different windows. There's the charts. There's the news. Yeah, so you can see all the news, and you see the code is still DJI, so it's still the Dow Jones Industrial. But that's basically it. Anyway, if you want to learn a little bit more about spread trading, have a look at www.fintrader.net, or click the link here in the video, and I'll send you further information. I'll also send you my top 10 tips on trading. Thanks for watching.